Here are 5 moves that you can do with furniture gliders. So these plastic pieces with a little foam insulation or padding glued to the top are known as furniture gliders. But in the exercise world, we might just call them gliders or sliders. And the beautiful thing about these are you don't need to spend a whole bunch of money to get them. In fact, you can pick up 2 pairs in one package for a total of 4 for only about, under $20, somewhere around $15 at your local Bed Bath & Beyond or some similar store. They're called easy sliders. There may be other kind of names for them, but essentially you're looking for one that's almost the length of your foot, maybe a little bit smaller. There are other shapes and sizes, small circular ones, so depending upon the need, well, then you can choose what size you like. But here, we like to use the ones that are oval in shape and almost the size of your feet. So we're going to do 5 moves with these furniture gliders. The first one is called a reverse lunge, meaning instead of going forward into a lunging action, you're actually going to stay in place. So technically, we could consider it a squat because one foot is not stepping, it's the other foot that's gliding back. So what you'll be doing is you'll have one foot upon the glider, the other foot not on a glider, it's just going to stay put. And your goal is to slide the glider back so that you can get to a point where you have a right angle at the forward knee, the hips are directly below the shoulders, and the head's aligned with the shoulders, and then from here, you just drive on back up. Sliding back, maintain that nice tall posture, and drive up again. The arms can help out by moving in the opposite direction as the leg. And of course, you want to try one on each side and see how that is. You'll probably find that you've got one leg that's a little bit more dominant than the other, so you may find that you want to spend a little bit more time on the weaker quote-unquote leg. So with that reverse lunge, we can also, as you get more proficient with it and it is no longer hard to coordinate or even hard to perform and your strength levels are up, then you can add some resistance in the form of, say, maybe a dumbbell, a kettlebell, barbell even, dumbbells, whatever you choose, just something that loads the body a little bit more. So you'll just be gliding that leg on back, holding the weight in place, maintaining that nice upright posture, and driving up through. So that is the reverse lunge. Then what we have, we kind of call it the bowler's reach, because if you've ever gone to a bowling alley and you throw that ball down the lane, a lot of times people will end up in this position. And that's kind of where we're going with this next one. You're going to take the glider, and with that glider, I should point out that you're not putting your whole foot on the glider. We really just want the pad or ball of the foot and the toes on top, because that heel is going to be lifting off anyway as you glide back and forth. If you have your whole foot on the glider and you take that leg back, chances are you're going to leave that glider back there. So do make sure that you put your foot somewhere in the center of the glider, heel off. Now with this one, we're going to take the leg that's the gliding leg and you're going to slide it back similar to the previous exercise. However, we're going to keep the weight suspended over this forward leg. And as this leg goes back, it's going to go around and behind toward the opposite side. So in this case, my left foot's on the glider, right leg is standing. The left leg is going to slide back and over to the right. Now, it doesn't have to slide greatly over to the right. If we were standing on a clock face, I'm going to take it from 6, maybe over to about 5 o'clock, potentially 4 o'clock, but there's no reason for me at this point in time to get over to 3 o'clock. As I do that, this knee is not going to roll outward, but it's going to stay directly over the foot. In fact, more over the big toe of this foot than anywhere else. Now, we call it a bowler's reach because the gliding side, as that leg goes back, the same side arm is going to go forward. And what you get is this counter rotation going on with my rib cage and my hips. So as this leg glides back, it sends my hips off in that direction, helping to keep my knee over the foot, while at the same time bringing this arm forward is going to create rotation of my rib cage in the opposite direction. So we get a whole bunch of these muscles turning on, not to mention the fact that my thigh muscle in here and my glute in there is really working hard to keep me in place. So I'm going to try and reach back as far as I can, safely yet challenged. At the same time, I'm going to be reaching forward with my palm up and really reaching. If they both reach simultaneously in opposing directions, my body shouldn't be moving back and forth, but it should just drop straight down. That's the boulder's reach, number 2. With number 3, we're going to get down on the floor. We're going to use 2 gliders, and we're going to do some type of push-ups. We call them chaos push-ups because what we really want to do is break away from traditional routine kind of movements. We don't necessarily want to get the same action going on. We want to feed some chaos into our system so that the muscles have to react and they understand that I'm not always going to be perfectly aligned, but I might have to reach in different directions when I find myself kind of reaching under the couch to get whatever fell back there. So I'm going to place my hands on the gliders now. And you can do this upon your knees to start out with if you choose to. And for a more advanced position, of course, we can get up to the toes. Now, what I can do is I can keep one hand where it is, but then I can glide the other hand somewhere outward. And it doesn't have to be in the same direction with every repetition. In fact, I can alternate arms and see where can I bring my body. I can get both arms to move and then return back to wherever I'd like to go. Now I can get a little bit more funky with this and get the other 2 that came in the package and put them under my toes. So this way I can move any part of my body while trying to do push-ups in different positions. It's only limited to your imagination. That's why we call it chaos. There's no specific way of doing this, but can you lower your body toward the ground and can you drive off the ground while you're on a slippery surface? Now, of course, I'm on carpeting here, but they also work fairly well on hardwood floors. You might put a slight slipper over the bottom of it so you don't scratch anything up, but these don't have anything rough on them, so chances are they'll be fine on hardwood or laminate flooring. When it comes to the rubber flooring beside me here, that's going to give a little bit more grip. So it could be something that might provide more resistance because you're going to have more friction. At the same time, it could provide you with a little bit more balance and security because it doesn't slide so quick. Depending upon the movement, it could either help you or hinder you. You'll have to choose which one you'd like to do. So after that, we've got a single leg reach. We'll go back to a standing position. And in this case, I'm just going to use one of these gliders now. And it's almost like I'm standing again on that clock face. My goal is to take this leg and reach out as far as I can in any direction possible. And what you'll see happening is no matter where I reach, I have to maintain balance over the standing, non-moving leg. So my body is going to start to really work on different directions. And this is going to turn on a whole bunch of muscles from my nose to my toes. The whole body's going to light up. I can take my arms and help balance or drive it in the opposite direction, no matter where I'm going. So if you want to work on some controlled balance training, or really just work on core or hip and leg strength, that's a great movement for you. Now the last exercise is called mountain climbers. And this is a typical one you might see people doing with these gliders where they're in kind of a plank or push-up position and their legs are moving back and forth in alternating directions like they're trying to basically get started and run somewhere on the ground, but they're not going to go anywhere. So what we're going to do is we'll put the gliders underneath my toes, get myself into that plank position, almost like a push-up, and then I can take one knee and then the other one, and I can bring it forward while the other one extends back. Now there's a whole bunch of ways to do this. You can keep your body really still, the spine not moving, and then the legs moving back and forth. But you can also start to have the hips moving up and down. It doesn't make it wrong, it just makes it different. So can you have good body control for each of those? That's really the question. If you struggle to have control through certain movements, well, those are the movements that you might want to start focusing on in your routine to drive more control, motor control, strength, and coordination into those actions. Now, when I brought my legs forward, the knees were aiming toward the same side arm or elbow. But that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. I could aim my knees toward the center underneath my chest and rib cage, or I can even go further and start to really rotate through. I can also bring both knees forward and back. I can throw in a push-up and bring them forward. So potentially you might be a surfer, and this might be a really great way of getting you to get up onto your feet. So from here, we pop up, and back and forth. Just like the chaos push-ups, the mountain climbers don't necessarily have to have any rules. In fact, what we could do is break out all 4 gliders and do mountain climbers. Because what was happening previous to this was my legs were moving, but my arms weren't really going anywhere. I might be pushing up and down like you just saw, but they weren't moving through space. So if I put both hands on the gliders, get both toes on the other gliders, not only can I get the legs moving, but I can start to get the arms moving too. Can I coordinate it so that the arms and legs move in opposite directions? Meaning that the left side moves apart while the right side comes together. Or can I do it so that the right side moves forward while the left side moves back? Remember, there are no real rules to this. All we're looking to do is give your body a new experience, challenging your system, your coordination, your ability to maintain good, stable environment while you're moving, and therefore working on your strength levels too. So, these gliders, 5 exercises. We've got the reverse lunge, the boulder's reach, the chaos push-ups, a single leg reach, and mountain climbers. If you were to just spend maybe 5 minutes a day pursuing or exploring 1 minute for each of these movements, see what that takes you. See what it feels like. Over time, you're going to get a bit more coordinated with the movements that you're a little less coordinated with. Practice, practice, practice. Let me know how it goes.